So today we are going to show you guys how to take cuttings from fruit trees. Right now, Nate is prepping our pots, filling them with just regular potting soil for the cuttings. So right now we are starting with the apricot tree. Nate is looking for the right kind of branch.
Nice and solid. You want to make sure that it's already turned wooden. You don't want it to be like freshly green like that. That's not going to do anything. When you take a cutting, you don't want to take from this part of the tree where it's like a fresh twig. You want it to be already at its wood stage. So we're going to use this one. It's a nice long piece. I'm going to cut at a 45-degree angle so the roots can bust out of that, and so I'll know which part is the top and which part is the bottom. There we go.
See the bottom. Perfect.
Just gonna snip off this part, and this will be one whole cutting. Pow.
No leaves, because the leaves will draw too much energy from the cutting and it won't be able to focus on the roots.
Exactly.
So put it in there. How much do you think, like an inch in you went?
1 to 3.
1 to 3 inches deep in the soil. And then afterwards we will make sure to water heavily and keep it wet. So the next cutting that we're taking is from our lemon tree. So again, finding a somewhat older branch that's already started to become woody. Cut the bottom at a 45-degree angle.
And strip
the plant of excess leaves and plant material.
Putting that energy towards that, focused on the roots. And usually, depending on how good your green thumb is, you could just dump it straight in some like good ass soil, but if you ain't got it like that, then you probably should want to buy like rooting hormone. And that is like $8 at like a nursery or your plant store. It's called root solution or rooting hormones, and you just would dump the powder right here and then stick it in, and that'll like boost your guaranteed success rate, I guess.
It basically kills the bacteria that could inhibit growth. Some people have had success using aloe vera gel or cinnamon. I think when we tried it, it didn't really do much, but now we use nothing and it works very well. So I think that it really has to do, like he said, with what type of soil you've got. We make our own compost, so we are very lucky.
Yeah, and we'll show you guys our fig cuttings from last year.
So you can see, yeah, they're almost a year old now.
Another one down.
Alright, and so like we showed before, the 45-degree angle where the bottom of the cutting was is going to go in first. See, a couple inches down, make sure it's in there tight.
On to the next tree.
So now all 3 cuttings are in. We did our last cutting again of the apricot tree. Now we want to water pretty heavily.
And this is filtered water, by the way.
I was going to say that too, but you want to make sure that the water that you're giving your starts is not filled with chemicals, or even like in the case of our homestead, then our water source is very heavy in sulfur, and not all plants like that, so we are using our reverse osmosis water. But once these are done, now we're going to go and put them in the shade. Make sure that, like, every day we're going to check and make sure that they are wet but not in a puddle. And probably in about 4 to 6 months, once they sprout, we'll move them into a part shade section. and then eventually into full sun. So here is our final spot of where we're going to let the cuttings sit under this shady tree. We can make sure they're protected. And there you go, guys. That is how you take a cutting of a fruit tree. Hopefully once these guys sprout, we can do an update video. So here we have 3 different fig cuttings that were taken at different times. I think the oldest is a year, and then the other 2 are shortly after. So, for example, you can kind of see where parts of it were cut off. Same this one, but these leaves are so big.
This is the youngest one.
Yeah, this is our baby.
The black mission figs.
Yeah, black mission figs. If you've been following our journey, then you know in our last home we had some amazing black mission figs. We took these cuttings long before moving, and I am very grateful that we did. Eventually we'll be able to hopefully have that fruit here. But these are in part shade and they're about a year old. So eventually as they get bigger, then they will go into full sun.